Congratulations to one of my viewers who was just offered a brand new white gold GMT Master Pepsi from the authorized dealer with the Meteorite dial. That's an amazing watch and maybe the best looking Pepsi GMT out there available to purchase at retail. And today is a great time to buy because Rolex will be discontinuing the Pepsi GMT this year and replacing it with the Coke. But why is the Pepsi leaving the catalog? Rolex is aware that people aren't 100% satisfied with the coloring of the bezel, and they've been trying to tweak the colors here and there, but haven't resolved all the issues. And it comes down to how the ceramic bezel is manufactured. After the ceramic material is fired up, the raw color is a light purple color. Then they dye the entire bezel one color red. And to get that seamless transition at the 6 and 18 positions, they dip just half of the bezel in another color to produce that blue coloring. But they haven't fully replicated the look of the blue and red bezel on the aluminum bezel GMT Master 2. So most of the time the new ceramic bezel looks fine if it's in dark lighting or artificial lighting, but when you bring it out into the bright sunlight, you really see some changes in the color of the bezel. The bright sunlight can penetrate further into the levels of the die, so the top portion, the blue portion, gives a distinct purplish tone. I wouldn't go so far as say that the red turns pink, but it does change in color tone to be a more brighter red. So much so that now the Pepsi bezel has the reputation of being the purple and pink bezel. The current Pepsi ceramic bezel GMT has had a fairly long production run so far, and people are not completely 100% satisfied with the colors yet, so Rolex will be discontinuing this model and putting it on hold. And in its place this year, they will be releasing the black and red bezel GMT, the Coke version. But let's take a closer look and again compare the 6-digit ceramic Pepsi versus the 5-digit aluminum bezel Pepsi. My Rolex 16710 from 2006 is lightweight and compact. It looks and feels much smaller than the current Supercase and Maxi Dial Pepsi. Still 40 millimeters, the bracelet is all brushed stainless steel with an old style clasp. The case has thinner lugs and smaller crown guards and a smaller crown. The colors on the aluminum bezel will eventually fade, so if you wear it long enough in the sun, you can get that ghosted look. But mine has not faded very much, and I think the colors are close to the original look. The blue side is a true blue, not a navy blue, and not a bright blue either. And the red side here is a shiny metallic red as it reflects the light, and it reminds you of that aluminum Pepsi can. So overall, the bezel has that classic, old-fashioned, vintage look to it. But with that vintage look, you also get that vintage bracelet with the hollow center links and the rattling sound. And you get the small crown, which can be difficult to grasp. So I would have preferred a bigger crown on this case. And with that older style construction, you also get a very different bezel action, which can stiffen and get difficult to turn over time. With the modern version white gold GMT, you're getting a much more robust construction, higher build quality, and a hefty feel on the wrist. It has a much improved and reassuring clasp. The crown is larger and easier to manipulate. The bezel has a smoother turning action, and the thicker lugs will be able to withstand more polishing. But with all that, you are sacrificing somewhat less than optimal color shading of the bezel. But between the 5-digit version and the 6-digit version, I personally have not been able to make a definitive choice between both of these. and I haven't been willing to give up one over the other. It really comes down to if you prefer the vintage look or the modern look. I seem to be still wearing both of these, so I alternate between both of them. Whenever I want to have a larger look or a heavier feel on the wrist, I go for the ceramic GMT. But with that, you get some extra bling. You do have the extra shine of the polished center links and the larger stance on the wrist. So then when I want to wear something lighter weight, more discreet, and with a more vintage look, I go back to the 5-digit version of the Pepsi.